Auburn baseball season starts on Friday, and they've got a chance to be pretty good.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Today's show features a conversation that we had last week with Auburn hitting coach Gabe Gross. Yes, the Auburn legend himself. We discuss what it means to have such a high ranking going into the season. Spoiler, he doesn't think it means much of anything, as well as certain guys to focus on if you're an Auburn fan getting ready for this opening series this weekend against Youngstown State. Here's that conversation. We're now joined by Auburn hitting coach Gabe Gross. Coach, going into the season, I mean, you guys are respected across the board, top 5, top 10, and depending on which poll you look at. Does that change the approach this time of year as the season gets closer and closer?
No, I know a lot of people make a lot of good livings on it, but there's nothing more worthless on the face of the earth than a preseason poll. There just absolutely is not. I think 2 years ago, we had a rough year and we were very highly thought of. Last year, we weren't in any polls to be found whatsoever. It turned out to be a pretty good year. And you got to approach it the same way. You got to go earn it every single day. And that's kind of the mindset right now.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of fans are really excited about Chris Rembert and his return. Talk about him potentially leading off. From your perspective, what do you see in a guy like Chris Rembert and what can he do this year?
Yeah, Chris, whether he's leading off or hitting he's going to be somewhere in the front of the lineup and maybe hitting leadoff. And, Chris is just a tough out. I thought last year his ability to get very comfortable, quiet, if that's the right word to use, with 2 strikes, see pitches, not chase, force guys back into the zone, and then still being able to do damage. It opens the game up with a very, very tough at bat off the gate. And his influence over his teammates as well. Chris is not a huge vocal leader, but it's hard to find somebody that's more respected, and to have him out there early in our lineup is a weapon.
Coach, obviously the transfer portal has changed everything about college athletics. When you're dealing with somebody that you're bringing up through the high school ranks and you guys develop them, and the specific approach do you guys want each individual player to have?
Yeah.
How does it change coaching guys like that versus guys who have played baseball at the college level elsewhere and they come in and maybe the approach that they had at their previous stop was a little bit different than what you guys want them to do? What does that look like from your point?
Yeah, I'm always of the mindset as a hitting coach, I'm trying to work with what makes the player really good and not take it away from him. And so, there's certain standards that we're going to uphold no matter who you are, if it's a transfer or a freshman or how long you've been in our program. But hitting is very unique. I don't think you would try to make, Freddie Freeman be like Mike Trout, and you wouldn't try to make, Mike Trout be like whoever else you want to put up. I mean, sure. It's always a little bit of a uniqueness to what they're doing. And a little bit, for the most part, there may be a few more adjustments to be made as freshmen come in mechanically and making sure their brains are working in the right way. And usually a guy, take a Todd Clay that's coming in from UAB, it's trying to learn him. What does he do well? What has he had success with? And then is there just a way or two that either a small thing within his mechanic, and more likely just an approach adjustment or the way we attack pitchers to help him get better in small ways and not try to overhaul the same thing with a guy that's had success in 2 or 3 years of college baseball.
Do you guys sit down with these players when they come in, or at least during the recruiting process at any point, and say, like, okay, like, what do you think in this situation? Like, are you picking each other's brains? Are you trying to figure out what their approach already is? Like, how detailed is that conversation? Or do you just kind of deal with it and talk them through as, practice goes on and, all these, different off-season trainings go on?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Sure.
It's a little bit of both. In the recruiting process, part of it's just finding out who he is and let him find out who we are. I mean, this is what we do. This is what we believe in. And you either like it or you don't. One or the other. I'm not trying to hide. I'm not trying to hide what I teach. I'm not trying to hide how I teach. I'm trying to get it out there. It's kind of like old, Sawyer Brown song. Some girls don't like boys like me, but some girls do. I mean, it just, it's got to be the right fit. And then as they get here, it is a constant conversation about hitting, what works and what doesn't. A guy that's got ride, how do you go about hitting him as an individual? And you take a good swing. What were you thinking on that swing? Because what Ike Irish and what Chris Rembert and what Bub and what Todd Clay, what they all think to hit the same pitch might be a little bit different. And as a hitting coach, I need to know that. So when they get off a little bit, I can help bring them back to center.
We continue our conversation with Coach Gabe Gross in just a moment, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for the events you can only see on the biggest stage every 4 years. Curling, folks. We all love curling in the Winter Games. That's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel, it just makes sense, from medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care most about. FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected on the action. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Wayfair. The new year is here. It's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. Pretty much everything in our bedroom is from Wayfair. Pretty much everything from our dining room in our house is from Wayfair. Love the durability of the furniture too. I mean, some of the stuff we bought like right after we got married we got a lot of Wayfair gift cards as a wedding gift. And like we bought our dining room table, and like it's been with us for a long time. So several moves, and I think that's great. So get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Yeah. Several key pieces of the lineup coming back. Bub Terrell, Cade Ballou, Bristol Carter, a few guys we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
What kind of growth have you seen from them this offseason? What should we expect from them this year?
Everybody's growing. You're always, if you're not growing, you're dying. That's the old adage a little bit. Sure. But, I think Bristol on the base paths, man, he has been tough for us to deal with defensively, to keep him from stealing bases. I think his study of pitchers, their moves, little idiosyncrasies within what they do to give him an advantage of when they're picking and when they're pitching. He has become really, really good at that. Cade Bellue's kind of done the same thing as well. Another thing that it's just reared its head a little bit. Cade Ballou is so fast. He's so big and he hits the ball a long way, but you don't realize how fast that guy is too, and his ability to maybe lay a bunt down in situations and beat it out, a base hit bunt, and even when the guy sack bunts, he's so good at it and so fast down the line, he can really, really create chaos. Of course, they're high level defenders in the outfield, both those guys, and those are the two names that stuck in my brain. Who else did you ask me about?
Cade Ballou, Bub Terrell, and Bristol Carter.
Yeah, Bub. In the outfield, it's funny. Bub's bumped in and played a little bit of first base. You may see him there at some point in the season, but all three of those guys really, really play in the outfield well. I think and I talked about Cade and Bristol a little bit. I think the thing that comes to my mind with Bub is just consistency. He has worked so hard at creating a consistent path with his swing. Consistent. When you saw him last year, it was a lot of really, really hot, really, really cold, and trying to get to where he is the same guy every single day. And he's been really good at that so far this year. But nothing matters what you've done. And when February 13th starts, you got to go do it when the lights are on. Yeah.
Last year, you guys had so much talent and depth and somewhat of a rotation at catcher. That seems to be a similar scenario this year, even with some portal ads. Is the plan the same this year at the catcher spot?
The plan is going to start with Chase Fralick, trying to figure out ways when it's hard because Chase is so good. You don't ever see him not back there, but we do have some other options. But trying to maybe keep his legs under him a little bit by giving him a blow from catching every once in a while. Lucas Steele can jump back there. Logan Gregorio, and even freshman Taylor Belza is coming along. He was banged up a little bit in the fall, and so we're just getting a real good look at him at the catching position as well. But it's gonna start with Chase Fralick. He's a bat you're definitely gonna have in the lineup every day, and he has grown into a really, really good defensive catcher.
Yeah. Coach, as far as, I mean, you guys may not have been looking this far ahead, but as far as the schedule before you guys get into SEC play, playing a lot of teams that played postseason baseball a year ago, I assume that's by design from you guys and Coach Thompson. But what are you telling your team going into this pretty loaded schedule? And then it just gets even tougher when you look at the top 10. I know you say preseason polls aren't worth, but the SEC is good. And obviously there's a lot of folks there. So, I mean, what's that discussion look like when you prep for the season that's just going to be brutal from, day one till the end of it?
Yeah, you just don't respect the jersey. You don't respect one jersey over another jersey. And when you come out, your mindset's the same. If you can, if you can win a game 3-2, then you win a game 3-2. If you can win a game 25-2, then you win it 25-2. You execute every single at bat, every pitch. You don't respect if it's LSU or whoever it might be on the other end. You have a certain standard of play that is required of you every time that you cross the white lines and you have a jersey on, and definitely an Auburn jersey on, and hopefully that follows those guys in the professional ranks too. Almost every one of our players have dreams of professional baseball and being a big leaguer. And it's like, man, are you going in game 111 in July? You're going to not go out there and play to a certain standard,
right.
in game 112 and then 113. And it just keeps going and keeps going. And college baseball is a little bit different, but there's a level and a standard of focus and of concentration that every at bat requires, every defensive play requires, every pitch requires to be successful. And we're doing our dangest to train our guys to get there, no matter what the team is and no matter what the score is.
Coach, thank you so much for your time this morning, and best of luck this season.
Appreciate you, Zach.
Great stuff from Coach Gabe Gross. Once again, a lot of you guys have been asking for more Auburn baseball content. So here it is. Obviously, this conversation we had a little bit with Lindsay earlier today towards the end of the show, but most of the time it will be me, sometimes solo, sometimes with Lindsay, sometimes with Daryl, but we will have post-game shows for Auburn baseball, starting, of course, after each and every game this series this weekend against Youngstown State. So lock in, folks. Lock in. You guys asked for more of this. We're going to do it. So would love to see you there. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you're tuned in on audio. Please subscribe and leave us a review there. Helps the show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.